Why is it so tough to find property right now? I'm Tim Diesel, I'm a commercial real estate consultant, and today I want to answer a question that I receive a lot. And the question is, why is it so difficult to find properties in this market? And there's three reasons. I'm going to give you three, and there's a lot more, but I'm going to give you three that'll really help answer a lot of your questions, and a lot of your frustrations will be alleviated after this. So the first thing is investors are chasing yield, right? They need return on their money. So what they're looking for depends on how much they borrowed the money for. And that has a lot to play with it. So a simple 4% return for them is not as attractive. So sometimes they'll need something a little more, just a little more significant, right? Because maybe their existing portfolio is paying out a lot better. So they're looking at the new investment as not very lucrative for them. It's not very attractive. Now, the other thing is, if they do sell, where do they put their money? Because they'd like to do a 1031 many a times. They'd like to grow their portfolio, move into something else. It's difficult for an investor to sell, cash out, and pay all that capital gains and not do anything. So they really need something else to put their money in, because even if they do sell and they pay the capital gains, well, now their money's just sitting around in the bank. Maybe that's not what they want. Maybe they want something else working for them, right? And that's a problem for a lot of investors. Finally, money is cheap. Well, if it continues to stay as cheap as it is, it's going to be, it's good and it's bad. It's good because if you borrow a lot, you can really, even on a small percentage points of those returns, you can really do pretty well. Now, it's bad because everybody else can do the same thing. So we're all competing in the same market for the same property a lot of times, and kind of puts everyone at a disadvantage, because if someone is willing to accept 3% return, maybe someone else would be willing to accept 2% and then 1%. So that's where it's kind of bad. It's just too much money, and there's too much, and there's not enough inventory. So everybody has access to money right now, and financing and funding. There's not a lot of stuff to buy. So when you have these three things going on, it creates a scenario that's very difficult for both sides. Right? It's difficult for the seller to move on and let go of his property, because where's he going to go? What's the next alternative? It's going to be the way they're looking at it. So you got to remember, a lot of these guys have bought their property maybe 3-4 years ago. Maybe they bought it for 300 grand. Now it's worth 600. It's doubled in value. To that person, the cash flows and that appreciation, it's going to be very difficult to duplicate, especially in this market. Maybe it's their first commercial property, so they're thinking this is the way it always is. Well, it's not. That's a challenge for them to let go of. And with the easy money component and investors looking for the right property or the right yield, you're going to see it's going to be very difficult to pry that property off someone's hands. So a lot of offers that are going to be made right now, you're going to have to send letters to the owners. And that's the best way of getting things to work out. So look at what's available. Don't necessarily look at what's listed. When I say what's available, I mean, what do you want? So if you identify you want an apartment building, or if you want a strip center, figure out the ones you want and start sending letters to those owners and let them know you recognize their situation, and see what you can work out that way. Because a lot of times, if you're analyzing the numbers that are public, so is everybody else. If they're borrowing cash at 1% or 2% or whatever, they're going to beat you out a lot easier. So a lot of these larger hedge fund groups, they're getting into the smaller deals. See, they used to not go below 100 units. Now they're starting. I've seen a couple of them. They're going a little lower. So that just causes more competition for everybody else. So try to see what works for you. And I hope that was helpful. I hope I answered it. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. Thank you.